first questions here, eloquently, I might add. And now Senator Cardin is going to ask his last questions here.
You're putting a lot of pressure on me.
No. I'm not done. There's a minute here about you. This is a very hard moment for a lot of us who've been such great admirers of Senator Cardin. He and I came to public service together. And whether it's trade, whether it's healthcare, whether it's retirement, he always gives public service a good name. And in particular, I can't even guess how many conversations you and I have had on trade about how we recognize that opening markets, which is hugely important for workers and businesses, and tough trade enforcement are not mutually exclusive. You can do both, but you have to really think through what the issues are all about, as Senator Kim pointed out. So, Senator Cardin, I wasn't able to talk you into running again. That was a great source of frustration. You have a wonderful replacement in the Senate. We're just going to miss you tremendously. And go ahead with your question.
Well, Senator Wyden, first of all, thank you, and Senator Crapo for the leadership on this committee. Senator Wyden has been a friend for a long time, since my days in the House of Representatives when we were both there, and I followed him here to the United States Senate. Your knowledge on the issues of the jurisdiction of this committee is unmatched by any of us, so thank you. And we share a common passion for global trade and the importance of global trade. I represent the state of Maryland. The very first speech I gave, my maiden speech in the House of Representatives, was on trade. I worked very hard to get on the Ways and Means Committee because of trade, worked very hard to get on the Senate Finance Committee because of trade. Trade is absolutely essential to the economy of the Port of Baltimore and my community. And yes, we want to see products coming in to our port. We also want to see products exiting, exports from our port. So I thank you. It's been a real honor to serve on this committee. And I deeply will miss not some of the hearings we've had, but most of the hearings I will miss. I certainly am not going to miss the vote-a-ramas that we have at times. But anyway, I'm concerned about where trade goes, because I've seen a major shift in the attitude towards open trade since I've been in the Congress of the United States. We saw administration after administration finding ways to expand trade. Now we find administration after administration being very reluctant to expand trading opportunities. And the challenges we have is that we want a level playing field. And when you're dealing with the PRC, you're dealing with a government-controlled economy where they're trying to change the rules and have everyone play according to their rules rather than the rules that were established through the leadership of the United States and open markets so that we could have at least reasonable standards for fair trade. So the IGC is a very important component of this, and I agree. We want it to be independent. We want it to be nonpartisan, but we don't want it to be naive. And the challenge we have, there's a reason why we want enforcement of trade rules, because that gives us a chance to be competitive against countries like China that don't play according to the same rules that we do. And we find at times, because of our objectivity, because we want to be so fair, the procedures we set up are too difficult and cumbersome to save industries that have been literally, by unfair trading practices, put out of business here in the United States. So I am concerned about the future of open trade, fair trade. And I think the ITC can play a very, very important role here. Congress has tried to fine-tune the enforcement issues. We've done it at times. But we also need the help of the ITC in telling us where we can be more effective in accomplishing enforcement without sacrificing the nonpartisan objective nature of what you do. So any thoughts on that?
Thank you, Senator. Excellent points, of course. I totally agree that one of the most important roles at the ITC is to be a partner with this committee and also with the committee on the House side to Of course, the ITC doesn't make policy, but we support the policy initiatives that the committee is seeking and that the Congress is seeking. And I think it's really important. And I would commit that if I'm fortunate enough to be confirmed, to work closely with the committee and the committee staff to understand what their priorities are, to try and provide information from our side of what we're seeing, and to work with you to understand what the committee needs so that they can get their job done and institute an effective policy. So I agree with you that, if I'm fortunate to be confirmed, I want to make sure that there's a close, collaborative, bipartisan, independent relationship so that we're working to give the Congress the information they need so we can do better.
Ms. Craig?
Thank you for the question, Senator. I know Congress recently updated our anti-dumping laws in 2015. That was Senator Brown's initiative, of course, but there are still proposals, a follow-on proposal as well, and other proposals in that space to change how our anti-dumping laws are applied. And again, as Mr. Coughlin said, if fortunate enough to be confirmed, the ITC's role is not to make policy, it's to support the Senate Finance Committee, the House Committee on Ways and Means, and the executive branch in providing any information that you may need in order to make the policy changes that you wish to see. And if that includes making the process easier for petitioners or for respondents, or including more information, whatever it is, streamlining a process, the ITC will provide that independent, objective information that you need to make the right decision.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Appreciate it.
I thank my